Hey guys, I'm Lumus TCG, and we need to talk about this new structured ST22 Grandgale. As a big Zephagamon player, well, I can tell you, this card is nuts. So there's a whole lot of things to go over with this card, and I'm going to be showing a bunch of stuff that I'm talking about as we go. I've got a list of things to talk about. There's going to be no structure whatsoever, so there's going to be a lot of waffling with this video, and I apologize in advance. So, for starters, we actually finally, in Zephaga, have a second Grandgale that is good to play, as the old Structure Deck one did not feel that great to play, honestly. You'd rather play tech cards like Parrotmon, Rapidmon, or even Argomon over your Structure Deck. Zephaga 5 lineup is getting crazy, and especially with EX11 around the corner. Next thing to talk about is this thing's effects. On play, when digivolving, when attacking, and none of that is once per turn. So most likely, more often than not, we're going to trigger this effect twice with it on the field. The next thing about its effect, it says you may suspend one Digimon to then gain 3000 DP. Well, because the first part of its effect says may, means we don't have to suspend any Digimon at all in order to get the plus 3000. So we can Digivolve into it, get plus 3000, and swing with it and get plus 3000. This also brings the fact of, because it's a may, we're actually going to get the plus 3000 regardless, like I say, but for the first time ever, we don't need to suspend ourselves in order to get this effect. It's inheritable of being able to unsuspend if our opponent has no unsuspended Digimon. It means when we suspend down their entire board, or if they've got no board at all, we can be more aggressive in this deck now. You, as one of the go-to plays to counter Zephagamon, is to not give them a Digimon. Well, now, if you don't give us a Digimon to interact with, we have an inheritable that can punish you. For this reason, we can push aggression to a whole nother level with this deck. We also now have a Grandgale that is best suited, I say with quotations, for each level 6 Vortex Warrior, not including the Ace, as it's its own separate thing. We have the old Structure Deck Grandgale that pairs best with Medieval, because it will put another body on the board for Medieval to alliance with. We have EX7 Grandgale that pairs best with the Structure Deck Zephaga, because it'll prefer to suspend itself to get immunity, and then the Structure Deck Zephaga will unsuspend itself. And now with this Structure Deck 22 Grandgale, it will pair best with the EX7 Zephagamon, as it allows it to be more aggressive and suspend down as easy way as suspending down the entire board. For the next point, we can OTK. It also means we're open to potentially having some draw eggs and not having to rely on the EX7 Fluffymon's memory gain as much, as we may not need to steal turn as much anymore, since we can now do our aggression plays without keeping turn, which means we can now maybe get some draw power in the deck. Ultimately, this card also brings up a lot of questions of what will EX11 bring the deck, when this is what we're getting before it. So I'm now going to show some scenarios with this new Grandgale about how it adds so much to the deck. For the sake of this, the old Structure Deck Grandgale will act as the new Structure Deck Grandgale coming out for all these scenarios. So in the most basic scenario to show, our opponent has a Digimon and we have Structure Deck Shoto on the field. One of the things we can do, we can just hard play for 7 the new Grandgale. On play, suspend down their body, end of turn, trigger Vortex into it, and then trigger Shoto to hit for game if our opponent's at 0 security. We have a way of ending the game via the on-play, and all we need is the Shoto and them to have a body, as this is the first time we've had the ability to on-play suspend and Vortex on the same card. So next, I want to talk about how big we can get in terms of DP. So for as this entire example, we'll be going off one of these Shotos. Obviously, for each BT20 Shoto you add, the bigger DP you get. We start off with a rookie with 2 plus 2000 heritable. Now this stack is to get the maximum possible DP to kind of get an idea of what numbers we can hit. Next we'd be digivolving into the old promo Galemon. By suspending one Digimon, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP until the end of our opponent's turn. So we now have a plus 2k inheritable and a plus 2000. That's plus 4000 already on this Galemon. When we digivolve into the new Grandgale, we've got another plus 2000, that's 6000 here. But when the digivolving a Grandgale, like we said earlier, we do not need to suspend anything, we'll just go plus 3000. At this point, we'll choose to swing at security, trigger it when attacking to get another plus 3000. This is already plus 12,000 DP. This is hitting for 19,000. Then if memory allows us, we can digivolve into Structure Deck Zephagamon, which will unsuspend itself giving us another plus 3,000. This brings us up to 26,000 DP. Now at this point, the only other increase we're going to get is from the Shoto by suspending it end of turn to give this line an additional 2,000 DP. That will make it 28,000 DP. But we can get bigger if we digivolve to the Ace. That's another additional 2,000 DP on top of the 11 we started. This brings it up to 30,000 DP. Now if we have a level 7, a lot of the level 7s are at 15,000. This will bring us to an additional 2,000 DP into our line, bringing us to 32,000 DP. Now in my deck, personal build, I play 2 BT20 Shotos, which means I can get up to 34,000 DP. It also makes, if you play the tech choice of Palmon, so much better. So we go start a main Palmon, give our opponent's Digimon, if it becomes suspended, they'll lose 2 memory. Now the typical go-to move after this is most likely to digivolve into Grandgalemon to suspend it. But say we don't have the Grandgalemon. We have to digivolve into a different Galemon. This body is still unsuspended. Well now, we can digivolve into the new Grandgale and suspend it anyway. This still allows us to get the Palmon trigger. This way we're not always having to rely on seeing the level 4 that can suspend the body. Or hopefully being able to reach a level 6. It adds a lot more flexibility to Structured X Zephaga. So in this situation here, we digivolve into it. Now, we will always suspend their Digimon, but we're going to be awkward. We've got no Tamers. We've got no memory gain to pass turn. We're probably wanting to get a Shoto set up so that way we can go, okay, we're going to swing and PS over. But under the situation with the new Grandgale, they have no unsuspended Digimon, so we can just swing at security, trigger the Grandgale to unsuspend ourselves and get our plus 3,000 and immune to Digimon effects. So even if this was a higher level and they aced, we've got immunity. And this even counts if they've got an empty board, as that means they've got no unsuspended Digimon, so the inheritable will still trigger. Having Fortitude on it provides a whole new plethora of ways to be offensive and defensive. So for example, in this situation, they declare an attack with a Digimon, we can call blocker, and they'll kill us. But we have Fortitude, which means we get rid of the Digivolution sources and replay it out. Now its effect is on play. So we go on play, suspend down your other body, and we'll get plus 3,000. Now, say if they've got a third body to swing with. Well, we still have a level 5 that we can ace into, providing ourselves with a 16,000 blocker due to having the on play. If we want to think about it in an offensive way, we swing at security, we hit something big. We go right, Fortitude plays out, plus 3,000 DP, which still provides us our level 5 that we can either pass turn with or just digivolve on top of. Now, in a very typical line for myself, where I only have 1 plus 2,000 heritable, at this point, if I digivolve into new Grandgale, I trigger to when digivolving, get plus 3,000, and I swing at security, I trigger to when attacking, which is exactly the same. This is a 15,000 body, which means it's not going to really die to anything, so that's pretty big for level 5, allowing for bigger aggression. With that in mind, it brings so much more power to promo Shoto, as we don't need to worry about passing turn, we can kind of worry about keeping turn. So in this situation, I can go swing with the Grandgale, do my check, and then choose for the to digivolve into Zephagamon, tap the Shoto to keep turn hopefully, and Zephaga will unsuspend and swing for another check. Okay, I'm going to show you some OTK lines now of what we can do, or I should say more game finishing. There is some OTKs amongst them, but we'll see. So first of all, we're going to start off with a Structured X Zephaga line. You can do this from your opponent having free security to end the game. So if they're on free security, we'll swing with the Grandgale. This will deal 1 check. We'll then digivolve into our Structured X Zephagamon to unsuspend. We'll swing for our second check, triggering the Grandgale to unsuspend. This obviously means they've either their entire board is suspended or they have no Digimon. So we've done 2 checks so far. Now, for the cost of 1, we'll digivolve into the Ace. At this point, we'll swing at security, trigger the Ace to unsuspend. That was check number 3, and we can swing for game. So from free security, we can kill now. Okay, I'm now going to show you how you can kill from 4 security using the EX7 Zephagamon. So, for this to work, you need an extra body on the board. This could have been played out by Scramble or anything. It could have been played out by Promo Shoto. It does not matter, as if this body has to be on the board. If it's able to swing, you don't have to worry about the final step. But if it can't, it just needs to be there. So we swing at security to deal our 2 checks. We'll trigger Grandgale to unsuspend because they have no unsuspended Digimon. So we've dealt 2 checks. Swing again for another 2 checks. At this point, they're at 0 security. So we'll, for the cost of 1, Digivolve into the Ace. The Ace will suspend down our other body to unsuspend, and then we'll swing for game. Now, lastly, I'm going to show you how we can fully OTK now with this Grandgale. Our opponent's at 5 security, and this is only doable with EX7 Zephagamon. So we'll start off by swinging at security. For the sake of this field, we'll trigger this EX7 Zephagamon to suspend down the opponent's Digimon. The Grandgale can now trigger its effect to let us unsuspend. Dealt 2 checks. We'll then swing at security again, dealing another 2 checks. We've dealt 4 checks now. At this point, we also want to be on 0 memory, because we need to be able to pass the turn and gain it back. So we have a single memory gain inheritable here, because we're now going to, for the cost of 1, Digivolve into the Ace. Now, there's nothing to suspend on the board, so the Ace can't suspend itself, but we've passed them to 1 memory. So we're going to go end of turn, trigger Shoto to unsuspend the Ace. We'll then trigger Vortex into their Digimon, and the Ace seeing itself suspend, so it will unsuspend. We'll then kill their Digimon, and gain the 1 memory back to keep turn, and dealing the 5th check. At this point, we swing for game. So as you can see, this Grandgale adds so much to the Zephagamon deck. So is it good or not? Well, it's clearly not bad. This is insane and could change everything. And the impact this could have for EX11, who knows what's going to happen. Never seen Fortitude coming, and we could see more Fortitude coming, as in EX11. The OTKs I showed could get even easier once we get the emblems involved. At this point, the possibilities are endless, never mind a level 7 coming, a new Warp Digivolve Grandgale that has the potential to have the exact same inheritable. It is a good time to be a Zephagamon player at the moment. With the EX11 around the corner, this deck's going to get wild, and I honestly believe this deck's got potential to be tier 1. So watch out for it at Worlds. But hey, what do I know? I've only topped 2 regionals with Zephagamon, and I'm hoping to top nationals and take it to Worlds. I've been Lumus TCG. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.